So this is a title. I want to talk about the binary addition. What it means, I want to see how I could add two numbers in binary. So you already did that in base actually 10, right? You are very comfortable with that. So let's see, are you comfortable to do the same thing in base 2 or not? So let's give you an example. So because you are good in base 10, so in base 10, if I give you something like this, 5, 8, 2, 7, and tell you add these two numbers, what should be the answer? What is the 58 plus 27? We are in base 10. Just type the answer on the chat box. That 85. Okay, how did that? You say, okay, start with the digit that you have on the right. You say 8 plus 7 is 15. You say actually 5 is here because this is 15. So see how I'm doing this. You say 8 plus 7 is 15. So I just giving that one another version of that what you already know. You say 8 plus 7 is 15. You couldn't write 15 here. Why? Because in base 10, the all digits that you could have is just between 0 and 9. I couldn't write here 15. I don't have 15 in base 10. Each digits that you could make in base 10 is just 0 to 9. Remember, this is actually the first thing I explained in the beginning of this class, right? So see these stuffs that we had in the beginning of this class. I mentioned whenever R is 10, each digit that you have should be just smaller than 10. So that means you just had 0 to 9 for each digit. So that means whenever you say 8 plus 7 is 15, you don't have 15. You couldn't write 15 here. So that's the reason you say here in your actually mind, you say, okay, I got 15. I subtract that from my base, which is 10. I got 5. Okay. You write 5 here and say, okay, this is a carry, goes to the other side. Okay. In the other side, you say 5 plus 2, which is actually 7 plus 1 is 8. And then you have 85. Okay. So this is actually the other version of that, what you are doing in base 10. If you follow this format, it should be easy to add any number in base 2. I give you example. 1, 1, 1, 0. So there is a reason I'm mentioning to that, because whenever you want to actually add two numbers in base 2, definitely you use the same thing. So that means the concept is exactly same. But here your base changed from 10 to 0. Probably this example could help you to understand what I'm talking about here. I want to add two numbers in binary. Okay, same story. So 0 plus 1 is 1. Is it 1? Could I have a digit in base 2, which is 1 could be actually acceptable digits in base 2? Yes or no? Yes, because in base 2 we just have 0 and 1. So whenever you say 0 plus 1 is 1, I'm actually easily write here 1. Okay. So how about the next one? Then you say 1 plus 1. Could I write 2 here? I'm in base 2. Could I write 2 here? No. What I need to do, you say you have 2, exactly same what you did here, right? You subtract that from actually the base, which is 2 again. What you got is 0. So you say 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 minus 2 is 0. You just won't get one carry here, okay? So again, you say 0 plus this carry 1, which is you have 1 again. I could write 1 here, no problem. See, 1 plus 1 is 2. I couldn't write 2. I need to subtract 2 minus 2 is 0. You got just one carry, okay? See this, 1 plus 1 plus 2, you have 3. If I write 3, there is no 3 on base 2. You need to say 3 minus 2, which is 1. You got 1 here. Again, you won 1 carry here. Again, you say 1 plus 1 is 2. You couldn't write 2 here. 2 minus 2 should be 0. You got the carry. So then it should be 1. Somehow you could actually add the 2 0 here and 1 0 here, right? So the both is the same thing. So that means if you add that two number is 10101, 101 should be the answer, okay? So that means technically there is no difference whenever you add two number in base 10 and base 2. Just be careful what you are doing, right? You are doing exactly the same thing that you did in base 10, but here whenever you go over that digits that you could write, you need to subtract that from base 2 because you are in base 2, okay? Here you are in base 10, you subtract that from base 10. Here you are in base 2, you need to definitely subtract from base 2, okay? So the next example here is, this is actually another example. So you need to add these two numbers, but in base 2. So you have a 1 1 0 1 1. You want to add this with 0 0 1 1. Okay. So you already know whenever you want to add two numbers, not just whenever you add, so anytime if you add the 0 on the left side of the number, it's not going to change that number, okay? So I put 1 0 here on the left side of the second number that we have. So you want to add the 0 plus 1 is 1. 0 plus 1 is 1, no problem. You could have 1 in base 2. 0 plus 1 is 1, so no problem on this. Say this, 1 plus 1 is 2. I couldn't write 2 here because the 2 is not acceptable digit in base 2. In base 2, digit couldn't be 2. So for that reason, you say 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 minus base is 2, so you get 0 here and 1 carry here. Again, you could say 1 plus 1, which is 2. I add 2 0 in other side. It's not changing these numbers. You say 1 plus 1 is 2. Again, you couldn't write 2 here. 2 minus 2 is 0. You got 1 carry here. So then you have 1 plus 0 plus 0. So then you have 1. So you add these two numbers. You got 1 0 0 and 3 1. So definitely the other method is take this to the base. Don't do this actually because we are practice how you could add in base 2. So maybe some people say, okay, I convert this into base 10. I got one number. I convert this to base 10. I'm comfortable in base 10. I add that two number in base 10 and get the result on base 10. Then I convert from base 10 to 2. I got the same number, okay? So that's really bad idea to do that, okay? So you just directly able to add that two number in base 2. One more example. So I'm writing and you do that and see you actually get what I'm doing here. So let's have another example. You do these two. So I actually have two of them you do as a practice. Okay, 1 0 1 0 point 0 0 1. Add with this number 1 0 1. And you have 1 here. You could put some 0, but that's not there. You could add yourself, okay? You need to actually add these two numbers, okay? This is 1. Let I give you one more, just in case if you finish that, you could work on the second one. 1 2 4 5. You want to add this with 1 0 0, okay? Find what's that, how you could add these two binary numbers. Let's start with this and then goes to this one. Let's see how we could do this. So let I actually put other color here. So similar as what we actually learned in the previous example. So you start from these 2 bits on right side of the two numbers. So you say 1 plus 1 is 2. I couldn't write 2 here. 2 minus 2 is 0. You have 1 carry here. Okay. You say 1 plus 2 0. So it should be 1. So 0 plus 1 is 1. No change for the point. Again, here 0 plus 1 is 1. Here you could put some 0, right? So 0 plus 1 is 1. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. Okay. So it should be 1 0 1 1 0 1 1 0. Okay, so that one was easy. Any question about this? Any question? So as usual, whenever you have question, you could raise your hand. There is an icon for that in the bottom of the screen, or you could actually type on the chat box. So let's do the whatever we have on the right side, so it should be more easier. So you have again the same story. 1 plus 1 is 2. I couldn't write 2 here. You need to subtract from base, which is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. You have 0 here, 1 here. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. So you have 0, 1 carry here. Again, 1 plus 1 is 2. You couldn't have 2 here. You subtract with 2. You have 0. And again, you have 1 carry here. So I just add some 0 here and some 0 here, which they are not going to change that two numbers. Okay, again back here. So 1 plus 1 is again 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. You got 1 carry here. So again 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. Also you got the carry. So then you say 1 plus 0 0. So you have a 1. Okay. So 1 5 0 would be actually the second. Okay.